Okay, now this is MS24, that is human MS24, yes, MS24 industrial relations, and this is the second block, and in this second block we have the unit 6, and the name of this unit is trade union development and functions. So before we go into the details of this particular unit, we should understand the meaning. Just like in the name of this unit, the name given trade union development and functions means how trade union developed and what are different functions are there which trade unions perform. So they have different kinds of functions. So how they do and why they do. Okay. So before going to the development and functions, we must understand what this trade union is. Okay, so that's why here I have written already. So that is nothing but a continuous association of wage earners for the purpose of maintaining and improving the conditions of their work life. It means to maintain and improve the conditions of their work life. Wage earners associate them, means they come together, okay, so that they can uh, influence the decisions of the management so that their work life can be maintained and can be improved. Okay, so that's why written trade unions are the associations. So it means people coming together, they are forming groups and making associations, having certain rules and regulation inside that association, and according to that trade union members used to function and work according to the guidelines of trade unions. So that's what it is. So it means trade union, the continuous association of wage earners for improving and maintaining the conditions of their work life. So that's what it means, the trade union. And next here we are going to deal with origin and growth of trade union. So how trade union grew means first we must know that how originated means how trade unions originated. Okay, due to what circumstances caused them to form association, means why wage earners formed associations, and why they thought that trade unions are important for maintaining and improving their work life. So what were the reasons? So those reasons we are going to deal with. So here origin and growth of trade unions. Okay, so how originated? Why trade unions originated? Okay, so that's what we are going to deal with. So trade unions have grown in response to the peculiar needs and the problems which the wage earners faced. Okay, it means they originated uh, because they were facing the problems, many different kinds of problems. In the course of industrialization under the capitalistic economic system, wage earners faced many different kinds of problems. So that's why they formed trade unions. Means that's why the trade unions originated. Okay, and many reasons are also these trade unions have grown in response to the peculiar needs. Okay, so why peculiar needs and the problems of industrialization? Because I already told that due to industrialization, wage earners faced many different kinds of problems, and they had many different kinds of needs. So due to those needs and problems, trade unions evolved. They came into existence. So which we see nowadays. Now, so here point by point, I can say, right, first here, in response to them, so in response to the problems of industrialization, so that we can say that it is one of the major. So in response to the problems of industrialization, means the trade unions came into existence. Okay, so many more this is the general reason for the origin of trade unions. Now specific reasons, what were the specific reasons? So here the specific reasons I can mention like this. So the first one I can write. First reason, the lack of bargaining power on the part of workers. So I can write down lack of bargaining power. So lack of bargaining power means individual worker was not able to bargain with the employer, because individual worker was dispensable, means the employer was able to remove that particular uh, employee who want some benefits from the employer. Okay, and the employer could recruit another person for that particular job. So that's why here a lack of bargaining power. It means individually, means employees had no bargaining power. Means they were not able to bargain with the employer. So that's why. So this one, it is the first. Second, you can say non-interference of the state. The second reason here. Okay, non-interference of the state. So non-interference is the state or the government was not ready to intervene in the matters of employment. Means the government was not ready to take in the position or take to the part of the employees uh, in the bargaining process with the employer. Okay, so that's why the employees had to deal with the employer on their own. So that's why trade unions originated. And this non-interference of the state, it was due to the concept of laissez-faire. It means no non-interference of the state, so that we call in French, that is this is fair. Okay, this is one. It is the French word for the non-interference of the state in the matters of employment. And the third, we can say, reason, individual worker was dispensable, which I already explained here in this topic also. Okay, individual worker was dispensable but collective. It means employers were able to remove one particular employee, but employers were not able to remove all employees at a time, because employers need workers. If all workers are going to be removed at a time, if all workers are going to quit from the organization, then in that case organization cannot work, cannot function properly. So that's why we can say that individual worker was dispensable, but the collective collectively they were indispensable. So that kind of thing it happens. Okay. So here we have separation between labor and capital here. Third one given separation between labor and capital. It means whatever the organizations were producing, so workers or whatever the factories were producing, workers were not the owner of those products. Okay, employers were the owners, so that's why whatever they worked, means for whatever workers worked in the company, so the products were not their own. So they were only working there for the wages, and employers were the owners of the products. So that's why that kind of separation made this process of production uh, inhuman. It means that it was not something which they were producing their own. So this made this create dissatisfaction into the mind of those workers. Then we have development of common sentiments under similar conditions. So here the fourth one we can say development of common sentiments. So workers developed the common sentiments due to the common situation. Means all workers were facing same kind of problems, so that's why they developed the sentiment that they all are getting same kind of they were facing same kind of problems, so that's why they developed same development of common sentiment. So development of common sentiments lead to the origin of trade unions. This will be the first. Okay, so these were the reasons due to which trade unions originated. Okay, then during this process, means during the origin and the growth of trade unions had to pass many hurdles. Means they had to pass many hurdles. So what kind of hurdles? Sometimes there it was the opposition from the employers. Okay, employers were opposing to the trade unions. Okay, opposing merciless persecution and suppression by the state. State means governments were also not supporting trade unions for their functioning and for their rights. So that's why means government also and the employers also means both were suppressing the functioning, or you can say the working of trade unions. So these kinds of hurdles they had to cross. Okay. So generally, trade unions in the origin and the growth of trade union, they pass through three stages. So what are these three stages? So let me write. So here I can write down three stages. So what were those three stages? The first stage, it was the outright suppression. The second, it was limited acceptance and tolerance. And the third one given, general acceptance and recognition. General acceptance and recognition. So what are these? So trade unions had to pass three stages. Okay, has to pass three stages. The first stage here, the outright suppression. It means suppression by the employer and the government in the beginning. Okay, it means this stage trade unions have to pass, then only they could be accepted. And the second stage, that is limited acceptance and tolerance. It means when trade unions were able to pass this outright suppression stage, then they came to the limited acceptance. Employers were ready to accept some functionality, or you can say they were allowed, trade unions were allowed to do, or were allowed to interfere in some matters of the employment, and the state also agreed in some matters of the employment. So they allowed, means both employer and the government allowed trade unions to interfere in some matters. Okay, some matters, not all matters, in some matters they were allowed to interfere, and they were allowed to set a wage and basic amenities, basic requirements for proper working and for maintaining a better work life in some part only, not the all part, whole part. In some matters only, the government and the employers were ready to accept and tolerate their interference. Okay, and the third one given, that is general acceptance and recognition. So here in the third stage, governments accepted trade unions' role in the employment process, means setting the wages, setting the working condition, these kinds of things. The governments were able to recognize these functions of trade unions in employment, and the employer also were ready to accept the functions of trade unions in such matters. I think that is clear. Then next we can move on to the development of trade unions in India. How trade unions developed in India. This is it, means the development of trade unions in India. So development of trade unions in India can be broadly divided into three parts up to. So these are three periods. So the first one you can say that is the early period. Okay. So in the early means up to 1918. Then the second stage, it is 1918. 1918 to 1947. That is prior to independence. Prior to independence. And the third, that is post-independence period. It means after independence. That is it. Okay. So how in the early period, means up to 1918. Up to 1918. So what were the things? So trade unions in India, that is only a century old. Why? only a century old. It is not like the trade unions in Britain, so which is much older than the trade unions in India, because industrialization occurred there in Britain much earlier as compared to what happened in India. Okay, so much before in India, industrialization happened there, it's occurred there in Britain. So that's why the trade union movement and the trade union development in Britain, it is completely different, means in completely different stage as compared to what it is in India. So in three parts we can divide the development of trade unions in India. So early period means up to 1918. Okay, so up to 1918. So here you can say the trade union that is delayed to start, means Indian trade union movement and the development of trade unions in India, it is delayed because due to late start of the industrialization in India. Since industrialization happened late in India, so that's why the development of trade unions were delayed. Development of trade unions was delayed. So development efforts largely in this means in the early period, the development efforts were largely by social workers and philanthropists, both foreigners and Indian origin. So that is up to early period. Okay, it means whatever efforts were made for the development of trade unions in India in the early period, so those efforts were particularly by the social workers who wanted social workers and philanthropists who wanted to improve the working condition and the work life of workers. Then we come to the second, prior to independence, mean 1918 to 1947. So during this period, what happened? Main factors which favored the birth and the early beginning. Okay. So in this period, so what happened? What force means what situations arised due to which the development of trade union in this period, it means prior to independence, the development of trade unions were at a faster rate. So the first one given, new social order. Okay, why here it is written new social order means due to the increase in the prices of different products, the wages, or you can say the salaries of workers were not up to the mark of the increase in the prices. Okay, so due to this condition, workers were not satisfied with their wages, so that's why this situation forced workers to form trade unions. Then the second, intense industrial and economic interest because earnings. So that's why I already explained. And the next here, the Russian Revolution in early period only. That is the Russian Revolution also caused the development of trade in India because the workers got the idea, or they came in contact or they interacted with the different kinds of social thinking, so which led them to form trade unions. And the formation of International Labour Organization in 1919, International Labour Organization was formed, so which also accelerated the growth and development of trade unions in India. So these all points are under 1918 to 1947. Then now we move on to the post-independence period. It means after independence. So what happened to the trade unions development in India? So after independence, role of political parties became much more influential in the development and the growth of trade unions. So different trade unions came under different political organizations. So political parties were in much more stronger position to influence different trade unions. So it means trade unions separated themselves on the political uh, guidelines. Then a political party tries to get best, and during the post-independence period, political parties tried to get as many as trade unions under their influence as possible. Means they wanted maximum number of trade unions to come under their influence so that that it will benefit them for their agenda. Then next we go to the Indian unions today. Indian unions today. So, what is the condition of trade unions today in India? So, retrogressive evolution from strength to weakness. Okay, retrogressive means the Indian trade unions are moving from strength to weakness to and weakness to infirmity and possibly from infirmity to extinction. It means it is degrading. Okay, strength to weakness, weakness to infirmity, and infirmity to extinction. So that the process, it means going in the downward. It means the development of trade unions in India, it is going downward. Okay, and why such things are happening? So there are many factors due to which there is degradation of trade unions in India. One point we should include what is the condition of trade unions in India. So that we can say here, opposed means trade unions opposed the all attempts to infuse to infuse the elements of rationality into the trade unions. Means since we are in the process of globalization, things are much more connected, societies are changing, and the economic systems also changed a lot. The way businesses, business organizations are working, these all things are changing. There is a rapid development of technologies. Okay, so these factors make this important that organizations should also change and the way workers work should also change. If this rationality is not going to be infused in the trade union, so then it will not be better for trade unions. So that's what it is happening. It means trade unions are not able to accept, means they are not able to infuse the rationality, okay, of such changes into their structure and functions. Now the next here we can say functions of trade unions. So what are different functions? So first function, that is economic. What economic? Second function where you have social. Third function, it is the political. Okay. So particularly we can categorize different functions of trade unions under these three groups. So the first one is economic function. Okay. So in this economic functions, trade unions try to rescue workers from exploitative employment. If there is any kind of exploitative employment, then trade unions try to uh, rescue them, try to rescue employees from the exploitative employment and the working conditions. Second given, social functions. Social functions meaning here quality of work life. Trade unions try to improve the quality of work life of workers. They try to improve or try to increase the education level of workers. Means they help the workers to educate themselves, and then socially trade unions also help in research works which benefit the workers. And the third one given the political. So political function में trade unions try to influence the government to make policy decisions which are in favor of them. It means influencing the government to make policies so that workers will get benefit from them. So that's it is the political function. Then we have the recent trend. So what kind of recent trend means? That is steady decline of trade union membership. So here trading it by right now. So here recent trend of trade unions. It means that is steady decline. So here we can write down a steady decline. It means trade unions are going in the downward. Means their membership and their influence in India decreasing. Okay, the number of members in different trade unions are going down, and also the influence which the trade unions are making on the government also going in the downward direction. Okay. So future role of trade unions. So what trade unions can do so that that it will help workers and to strengthen themselves. Means how trade unions can strengthen themselves and be more helpful to the workers. So the first one, you can say carry out both long range and the short range planning. It means trade unions should analyze the short and the long range. Then the second one, inform themselves about emerging problems. So trade unions should inform workers that what are different kinds of problems are going to come in the future, and what are different kinds of opportunities are there, so that workers can be prepared for them, and they can also play a developmental role. It means whatever human resource development programs are there, so those programs can better, how those programs can better work for the workers. So for that process, trade unions can take part in that and help workers to develop in a better way. That's it is all about the sixth unit, this unit 6 of MS24 block 2. That is trade union development and function.